All right, guys, so in this video, Matt is going to spill all the juicy details of all the crazy guest stories that he's had renting Myrtle Beach Oceanfront Condos, those short-term vacation rentals right here at the sand dunes and a handful of the other resorts in our market. He's going to tell you every crazy story that you've ever wanted to hear and every nightmare guest, and also how he beats Airbnb and the guest from cheating him out of his well-earned money. All right, Matt, so real quick, let's just talk real fast about, hold on, I gotta find my place. Okay, so Matt, how do you navigate financing for short-term vacation rental properties, especially being an out-of-state investor?
Well, so, I am a mortgage lender.
Come on.
So
I knew it was coming.
When before it was a little difficult finding lenders back when I started 8 years ago to find lenders that would lend on these condotels. And I realized there was a niche for it. So then I did my research. I found investors that would do it. I financed my condotels. And then once I had enough condotels to make my passive income, I decided to make the leap into the mortgage lending business. And that was the first thing on my plan is, all right, I need to be a lender on condotels because it's hard to get financing there.
Yeah, exactly. So you found a great niche that you could jump into and hopefully build a competitive advantage and hopefully take over that market. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people reach out to me wanting to know more about the financing and also about rentals. So it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, exactly. So basically you've got the experience and the know-how on top of being able to get people financed.
Right.
Yep. So are there any creative financing methods that you've used at all?
So, a lot of the stuff I do is DSCR, basically debt service credit ratio. As long as it's going to cash flow, you're pretty much golden.
Yeah. So guys, what the DSCR is basically it's a loan where, you have to have a threshold credit score, of course. However, you don't have to show tax returns or bank statements or anything so long as the property cash flows positively.
Right. And besides that, a lot of the investors here, I will do a cash out refi on a property that they currently own, use those funds, move them over so they can buy another one. So that way they're buying properties with no money out of pocket.
Guys, you're hearing it right here from Matt Fries. He's letting you know how to do it. Doing HELOCs and stuff like that, that is a very, very viable strategy that a lot of people use to pay that down payment money on that next purchase.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so real quick, talk about being out of state though. Is there any, is there any particular challenges or does technology just pretty much level that playing field? It's not even a big deal.
Yeah, technology is great. I don't feel like, basically years ago it would have been tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, now
super easy.
You can always find somebody, especially if your guests in your condo, if they need a mop, right?
Yeah.
You can Instacart them a mop in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you're only paying a little fee.
Super easy, super simple. Right. Technology's made it super easy, guys. Okay, and I often tell people about that. I have people that are concerned to get into the short-term rental game because they're like, well, I'm super busy. A lot of the investors that I work with are super busy. They're small business owners just like us. They have a full-time job, and they're investing in their free time with the capital that they're making from their full-time profession or small business. Now, Matt, can you speak to how not time-consuming oceanfront condos are?
So at first, after I bought my first one, I said, oh my God, there's no way I can get a second one. Like you said, technology has made it easier because there's an iCal. Your cleaners have a program that syncs with your iCal to automate things, and I use a third-party program that really helps me automate things.
Yep. And do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, it's Hostaway.
Hostaway, right there. Third-party program makes it simple and easy. And I was talking to another investor recently, and basically he uses a service called Hostaway.
Yep. They
charge 10%, and he doesn't really do anything with the rental. They do all of it for him.
They do everything, yes.
I don't know how much easier that could be as far as a short-term vacation rental, I mean, 10% is not a lot of your profit, and they're doing all the work.
That's right.
Yep. All right. So you obviously manage your properties yourself, right?
Yep.
Can you speak to, hiring a property manager versus do-it-yourself management?
Well, so yeah, it depends on how much time you have. I do the math. I want that profit. So I, manage it. Not only that, yes, there's amazing property management companies here in Myrtle. I can name off a couple, but they, they can help you increase your profit. I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing it for a long time, so I know the little niches, little things to do to increase the rentals.
Yep. Is there any tips that you'd share?
Well, so one of my things that I like to butt up my reservations, right? Like I don't want a weird Monday, Tuesday gap. So a lot of times, if I have somebody check it out on Sunday or check it out on Monday, that Sunday or Monday, I'm going to drop the price for that one day with a 4 or 5 day minimum to try to make somebody, who wants the window that I'm offering fall in that category, fall in that window.
So that way you don't have any wasted space, basically.
Right.
It's always being rented.
And that's because, somebody explained it to me before, on an airplane, when the airplane takes off, if there's an empty seat, that seat has zero value to it.
Yeah.
And so
they're flying all that fixed cost, and they're spending that money,
right?
But they're not making anything for it.
So I stay full. Is at what rate varies.
Yeah.
But I stay full.
But you've done the math, and it's better to offer a cheaper product and stay with bookings back to back than it is to just shoot for.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, okay.
You always have the clients. I had a gap, a 2-day gap. It was Sunday, Monday. Yep. I dropped the price. The guests who went in there, they broke the TV, shattered the TV. I was only going to make like $80 on their stay when the dust settles. But I have started claiming and charged back to the guests through Airbnb, so I'm just waiting on them to pay for that then. But overall, most of the time, yes, you usually.
Now, in your experience, do you have a lot of vandalism?
No. It's because.
Can you count on one hand, over the last 8 years, how many issues you've had like that?
I can name off one time, and it wasn't even. They weren't even mad. The guests weren't mad at me. The guests were mad at the resort. They were doing drugs in the unit. The resort escorted them out. I didn't even know about it, but apparently, as on their way out there, they decided to grab their eggs and just throw the eggs all in the unit.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So the cleaners cleaned it up. I had to touch up some paint areas. Besides that.
Yeah, that's not too bad. So in all the years that you've been doing this, only one vandalism case.
Right. You always have one-off cases, like a guy fell off a stool and his head went through the wall. But they paid for it.
Does that happen all the time?
Not often, but it's happened. I've got stories.
All right, come on, share some of these stories. I want to hear this. So a guy literally went through the wall.
Yeah, his head went through the wall. Well, so they tried to cover it up. Luckily, so I had the owner's
class. Did they slide the picture over it or something?
No. So it was at the breakfast bar, right? I guess it was after a night of drinking. The guy kind of passed out, fell out. His head went through the wall. So the next day...
Literally through the wall.
Oh, yeah. So the next day, they took a Budweiser box, right? And they went into the owner's closet. So in the owner's closet, I had caulk. I had.
They did not.
Oh, yeah. I had drywall mud. I had paint in there. So they took a Budweiser box and caulked it to the wall and then painted over it. They mudded it, painted it. Luckily, a good cleaning company, they noticed it and said, hey, this wall wasn't like this before. And it just looked a little weird. And,
So you basically came in there and kind of put your hand through the wall.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, they caught it because,
Now, did you charge them anything? Or?
Oh, yeah. They apologized. I was coming down that week anyway, so I was like, hey, don't worry, I'm going to patch it up, but it's going to be $100.
Yeah, you got to pay for that.
Right.
Any other kind of crazy stories?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Let's see. Off the top of my head, no. But there was so one of the units, the guests checked out, the cleaners went in, and there was blood everywhere. The mattress was saturated with blood. The blood splatter on the ceiling, blood splatter on the wall. We called the police. The police went out. They roped off the place. They were treating it as a homicide, even though there wasn't a body there, but it was a lot of blood. And so they tracked down the guests who stayed in there, and apparently it was something that happened outside the condo. I guess he got stabbed at the bar or something.
Get out.
And then he slept in the bed, but somehow I don't know how it ended up everywhere. But he was okay.
The guy was okay though.
He was okay.
Dude, that's a little bit freaky.
Yeah.
Right?
So the guests had to pay for all the
no doubt.
everything, but
so a handful of stories.
yeah.
Handful of stories. Vandalism isn't something to really be concerned about. Stuff is going to happen from time to time. Somebody might slip and fall and go through a wall. At the same token, you just have the people pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, it's super easy. All right, management and operations. So again, property management company versus do it yourself. For you, it makes a lot more sense to just do it yourself,
Right.
even though you are out of state.
Yeah.
So how many times a year would you think that you come to take care of your units?
You know, it really, I come down because I want to. Like, you know, here recently I've been very busy, so I haven't been down in 6 months. You know, I didn't have to come down. I came down just because the family's coming down later this week. So I figured I'd come down early, get some work done in the condo. Yeah. But in reality, you know, I think I could manage it without coming down.
Wow.
And, you know, I have the connections. You know, if I need renovations done for them, people come. You know, it's. If not, I'm resourceful, right?
Yeah,
there's social media networking. You know, social media, you can reach out and find people that can do anything for you down here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So, how do you handle emergencies, and what kind of emergencies have you had in the past?
So, originally, I was available 24/7. I'm kind of at a point where, in my listing, I go to bed at midnight. I wake up at 6 a.m. If you have a problem within that window, figure it out.
Yeah.
I would rather not lose sleep over it. I would rather, if they're having a problem, if they can't figure it out, you know, they're going to find another place.
Yeah.
And so this actually happened to me the other night. The guests got to the condo. The combination code wasn't working. They couldn't figure it out. Airbnb. They called Airbnb. My phone was on silent because they were trying to check in at 2 a.m. I didn't, you know, so I didn't hear it ring. So Airbnb put them in another unit. I checked in the next morning. I apologized and said, okay, well, you know, now that my schedule open, I can rebook it. I would rather that happen than get a phone call in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, why can't I get in this unit?
Exactly.
So, you know, originally when I started it, I was available 24/7, and I lost a lot of sleep over it.
And you wouldn't advise anybody to do that?
You know, I don't think it. Nothing really. Like I do have in my listing that, you know, if there's water damage, call the front desk.
Yeah.
Because most of these resorts, if they're gonna have to turn off the water anyway to the unit, and they're not gonna just let the unit flood.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at water issues, they're gonna call the front desk anyway.
Yep. All right, so moving right along, let's talk about legal and regulatory issues. Now, I'm going to bring up a hot topic. Do you think that short-term rentals are unfairly targeted by local governments? You know, I'll parlay into that by saying, you know, in the city of Myrtle Beach, there's a 1.5% tax that has to be paid for short terms, and then there's also for Horry County another 1.5% tax, and then South Carolina, the state charges a 10% tax that if you rent on Airbnb, from what I understand, it passes through and the guests pay that.
Right.
So, you know, so kind of talk to me about, you know, the local taxes. What's your experience there? Have you had anybody, I mean, do you honestly feel like short-term rentals are unfairly, you know, gone after in our market, or?
I don't think about it much. I'm still making a profit, and I mainly rent through Airbnb. So Airbnb handle, like you said, they handle.
They handle all the taxes.
Yeah. So as long as I'm still making a profit, then that's all I care about.
Exactly, and I don't blame you. And that's a lot of the advice that I find myself giving a lot of investors. They'll call me on the phone and say, well, the HOA dues are really high, or what are taxes, or they're super concerned about operating costs. But Matt just plainly said, like, with his 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, he's making $40,000 a year in profit.
Right. And
who cares about $600 to a tax?
Right. And I've had a lot of friends who were hyper focused on the cost, not focused on what is the return, that they held off for years before they finally got into buying down here, and then they bought significantly more with the same issues.
They just got past the hurdle in their head.
Right.
And so what we're hoping that you're going to do is pick up the phone and call me, 843-360-1737, so that I can help you get past that hurdle, that initial investment hurdle. I had Jason King on, right? And he bought a $169,000 oceanfront condo. In his first 10 months, he made 11 grand profit.
Oh, wow.
He paid a special assessment too. He still cleared 11 grand profit, right? And he's like, I had all this money sitting, I had 50 grand sitting in the bank. He's like, I was sleeping good with knowing the money was there. But like, after he bought it and saw how much money he could make with oceanfront condos, he was like, shoot, I'm ready to buy another one. And he was on the channel saying the same thing, like, don't let fear hold you back.
Right.
Don't wait 3 years later and then all of a sudden you're paying $100,000 more. I had a guy who was looking to buy, an investor who was looking to buy pre-COVID, and he ended up buying with me a few years later, paid $100,000 more for the same unit.
Right.
You don't want to end up doing that.
Right. They're constantly appreciating.
They are. Yeah. And that's another excellent point. Oceanfront condos, many of them in our market have appreciated over 100%. In other words, if you bought it at $150,000, it's now worth $300,000. So, okay, kind of talk to me a little bit about any kind of legal. Have you had any legal issues with your oceanfront condo at all? Anybody take you to court? Anybody sue you? The government come after you? Any kind of crazy thing?
No, not at all.
What about HOA? Any kind of controversy with the HOAs? People are always harping over, oh, I don't want to stay I don't want to invest in an oceanfront condo. The HOA can tell me what I can do.
So the HOA is also there to protect, to protect your unit, make sure that the property's up to par.
The HOA makes value-added decisions when they're doing things properly. Right. I tell clients that all the time. I'm like, they're saying to me, well, it's $1,200 a month. It's $1,300 a month for the HOA fees. And I'll tell them, I'm like, the people that are on the HOA own at the actual resort.
Right.
They're not going to want to pay any more money than they have to pay.
Well, and not only that, if you have a problem with the HOA fees, get on the board and go over the HOA fees and understand where the money is going. And if you see somewhere that they can save money, do it.
Tell them.
Right, because overall they're getting bulk services, right? So the cable, the internet, the electricity, the water, the sewage, they're getting a better deal being together than you would individually.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's probably something I should start explaining. So they're buying all these services at bulk, the insurance and all that. You're not going to be able to get an insurance quote as cheap as they are.
Right.
Because they're doing it for 100 units, right, as opposed to your one unit.
Right. So overall, like if they would eliminate the bulk services and let you pay for yourself, you're going to be paying more than what your HOA is getting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be smart for you. The HOA is a very valuable thing. It is an asset in this circumstance. It's going to help you. It should help you more than hurt you. Now, do you foresee any more regulations in the future that could make it harder for short-term rental investors?
In certain states, yes, but in a town that strives off tourism, if they start, basically, if they start cutting out the short-term rentals, there'll be no business here.
Because basically our economy thrives off of tourism. We probably see, I would imagine, and this is just a guess, 70% of our local economy's got to come from tourism. It has to. So, I mean, I can only imagine, could you imagine if they cut out tourism in Myrtle Beach?
Right.
We're the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast. You think people are just going to, you think the city's going to be like, no, we need to shut this down?
Right.
It's highly unlikely. In other words, I think that your investment is going to do well here, and it's most likely going to appreciate. In fact, the Myrtle Beach area for the last 3 years has been the fastest growing area out of the 150 most populated areas in the entire United States, according to U.S. News and World Report. You can Google it. We had over 90,600 people move here just last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a year-over-year 6% average annual growth rate. We are, I would imagine that your investment here is going to appreciate very, very well. Now, can we predict the future? No. Can we guarantee profits? No. At the same token, we can look at the historical data and see how well things have done and go, okay, they're most likely going to continue on as they've been doing. Now, real quick, let's just talk real quick about short-term rental platforms like Airbnb and VRBO. Do you think that they're here to stay?
No.
Come on, tell me. Come on.
No, because all right.
You think Airbnb is going to be out of the picture in 5 years?
I don't know out of the picture, but they're going to have they're going to have competition. They are, Google Vacation Rentals is rolling out their stuff. I use Hostaway for that reason, so to get me on Google Vacation Rentals. I get occasional bookings here and there through Google Vacation Rentals, but when people realize, hey, we don't have to go through Airbnb, we go through Google Vacation Rentals where there's no fees. Because right now with Airbnb, I think it's total 18% variance that you're paying, or I think it's 15% through the guest and 3% to the owner,
the host. Yeah.
Right. So there's 18% there. Google Vacation Rentals is 0, and so right now there's only a couple platforms on it. That's Hostaway is one of the platforms, but as things progress and more platforms get on it, it's going to get more popular. And that's the only way you can get on it is using these platforms to get on it, which Google Vacation Rentals, from my understanding, it makes their money from advertising, right? Their Google ads. So they're not going to take out the little guys out of me, like my pockets, or my guest pockets. They're making the money big time on the advertisements.
Advertisements, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Google Ads is a very viable advertisement solution for many businesses.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's smart on their end. Now, my other question is, I mean, do you think that there's going to be any kind of like Airbnb, VRBO crash, like the market crashes?
No, well, certain areas, right? Depending on where, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it in like Arizona, and certain areas in Arizona. You're seeing it in certain parts of Florida. It's not that it's a crash. It's because those areas can build out, right? And so they're not limited to the span of the beach, right? Where they can get oversaturated, and where places that were already short-term rentals, the only way they can get oversaturated is if we bring in a whole lot of skyrise resorts here, right?
Yep.
We can't. There's no more beach.
Yeah, exactly. So in a market like ours, where there's a lot of demand for a little bit of market area, you don't foresee any kind of crashes.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you mitigate risk during the off season when tourism declines? So, in a vacation destination like Myrtle Beach, what do you do? Are you rented 12 months out of the year? I had a guy call me on the phone. He's like, in Florida, I can rent 12 months out of the year. I'm like, you can rent 12. I mean, anyways, you can rent 12 months out of the year here.
I rent 12 months out of the year. I have a high occupancy rate. But you're not making a profit in the off season. You make a profit in the on season. So basically, I really, since I self-manage, I don't have a bottom, right? I can keep dropping the price till I fill. Now, if I have to get down to $30, I get down to $30, right? A lot of people don't agree with that, but in January, how else are you gonna get the snowbirds in? And $30 a night for a month is $900.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have that $900 for a month than to have
zero.
Zero.
Yeah, and it is going to add to your overall
Right. Multiply
revenues.
that by 11, and now there's $10,000 extra in my pocket that I wouldn't have if I had a bottom.
Exactly. So basically, you play the game.
Right.
In the off-season months, you drop your prices, you get people to book, you have nicer units, and the assets are there. The fixed costs are there. You might as well be making profit, or at least getting some kind of income in.
Right.
Now, talk to me about realistic figures for somebody investing in a Myrtle Beach oceanfront condo. What can they expect to make, like on a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom?
So, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You're probably looking somewhere around $300,000 for the purchase, right?
Okay.
Put down 25%, so you're financing $225,000.
Okay.
So payments, HOA, everything, cleaning fee. You're probably what, 40? Say 40. Let's round up. Say 50,000 in expenses a year.
Okay.
Right. My 2 bedrooms are netting, or they're grossing over 70. Depends on how nice it is. If it's really nice, almost close to, I'd say about 78,000.
78.
Right? So if 78,000 on a 2-bedroom, really nice 2-bedroom, right?
Yep.
Really one that pops, gets people to stop scrolling. You can make 78,000 on a 2-bedroom gross, and your total expenses are 50,000. Make over 20 grand.
28. It's almost $30,000.
Right.
Profit.
But it needs to be really nice. It needs to get them to stop scrolling.
That's it's got to pop. Okay. Pop. What about a 1-bedroom?
1-bedroom. So, I never really was a fan of 1-bedrooms until my secret sauce.
Until you figured out you can convert it to a 2-bedroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pulling out the living room furniture, pulling out the Murphy bed, make the Murphy bed area a closet. I did that. The unit that I did that on, I did on 2 units, but one of them already sold. But the other unit that I did that on, I think in the last 12 months, I think I brought in like 53,000 on it. Now my total expenses on that unit were, I think they were like 30. It might have been like 32,000 for the total expenses on that.
So we're talking about $21,000.
Yeah.
Profit.
Yeah.
On a 1-bedroom.
On a 1-bedroom. Yeah.
By converting it into a 2-bedroom. So you pulled all the living room furniture out, and you put what, a king or 2 queen beds in or something?
Yeah, I wanted to put a king bed, but actually one of the other homeowners here was giving away a free queen bed, so I put a queen bed in there. But I'm eventually going to put a king bed in there.
That's what's up. So, guys, very viable strategy, converting a 1-bedroom into a 2-bed, 1-bath, right?
Right.
Because on Airbnb, it's 2 beds, it's not 2 bedrooms.
Right.
Yeah. 2 beds, 1 bath. Very viable strategy.
Actually, Airbnb, I listed as a 2-bedroom. I make sure to put in the description, this is not a standard unit, right? This unit does not have a common area. This unit has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. There's a door. They're shotgun style units, so there's a door that closes off to each one.
Yeah. Too easy.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about your own personal strategy. How long do you plan on investing? How long have you been investing? Do you buy one every year, one every 2 years? What's your strategy there, and what does it look like for you moving forward?
So, I don't know exactly what my strategy is moving forward. Right now, I'm just focusing on making these units look as nice as possible.
Yep.
But besides buying, selling, I haven't really thought much into it.
Yeah, you obviously own 11 units already. Do you have plans to buy more?
I don't know. And my wife wants to just she wants to just travel and enjoy the rental income and that I quit spending.
Yeah, exactly. Happy wife, happy life. My dad always said that.
Exactly.
Okay, so is there a get rich quick narrative around short-term rentals? And is it mostly myth, or is it just promoted by influencers?
I mean, it's not get rich quick, right? Like you're not going to roll over one a day and say, "Oh wow, I got $10,000 or $100,000 more in my bank account." But it's so before I started my mortgage company, I was working for a company, and I said, I don't care about raises. I make my own raises, right? Every time I buy an investment property, I just increase my salary by
there you
20
go.
grand a year. Right?
I think it's an excellent way to look at it.
Right.
Your your investment property is like an employee that's going to work for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that you're going to have for the rest of your life. They can't lay you off, right, or anything else. So it's something that's yours.
Yeah, you own it. It's yours. All right, and then what's the best investment that you've ever made?
So I bought the 1-bedroom here at Meridian. I bought it for $47,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. It was abandoned. It was mold on the walls. The family didn't even know about it, and I guess until the dad there passed away, and there was mold on the walls, no flooring. The place was basically gutted. Bought it for $47,000, and I actually bought it with my IRA, and I moved into it for a month of the summer while I renovated it, and rented it. Did pretty good on rental for the next year, but then I sold it for $150,000.
$47,000 purchase price. Put what, maybe $20,000-$30,000 into it?
Oh, probably $10,000.
And sold it for how much?
I think it was $155,000.
Do you believe that that's a viable investment strategy, to buy a dated oceanfront condo, to remodel it, to show that it can make great gross rental income, and then to turn right around and sell it and flip it?
I mean, that distress, I think it's going to be hard to find distressed properties like that because they are getting scooped up quickly.
Really fast because people do it all the time.
Right.
Yep. Okay. And then last question, what's the biggest failure that you ever had?
Biggest failure?
Yep. Buying, selling, investing. Where did you drop the ball and you were like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was trying to think, like, because any of the properties I've sold, I look back at them to see, do I regret it? I think the biggest failure I did, and I'm working on this now, is that property I bought in my IRA, right? So it was the greatest achievement and greatest failure at the end, because I once I sold it for the $150,000. I pulled the $150,000 out and I bought 2 other properties, 3 bedrooms.
Yep. So
I got a pretty big tax hit.
You should have done it in a 1031.
Well, not a 1031 because it was an IRA. So,
okay, yeah, I got you.
So basically, I wasn't. But you can't finance in an IRA, right?
Yep.
So I saw 2 properties I really wanted. I pulled the money out. I bought the 2 properties. They both generated good rental money, but then I had to pay the taxes on the $155,000. Because I'm not 55 or 60,
yeah.
I wasn't of age. So I got a pretty big tax hit for that, but I made rental income.
Yeah, so you won, you lost, and then you came out winning because of the income it made.
Right.
Click the screen now to see the next part of the interview with Matt Fries.